There is something innately human about being able to live off of only what you can carry. But what the hell are you supposed to pack?
Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at these beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Try not to...
I remember my first wild solo camping trip, and no, I remember my first solo wild camping trip. I had a 70 to 80 litre bag, and it was full to the brim of so much stuff. It weighed so much, it actually broke the strap.
Very big, very big, very big.
That completely ruined the whole experience. I managed to walk about 1.5 miles away from the car. So what we're going to be looking at in this episode of Find Your Wild is the essentials of what you need to pack. Now, there are obviously some people out there who can survive and thrive in the wild carrying nothing but a knife.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
For everyone who's not Crocodile Dundee, this is what you need to pack, just the essentials. First up, sleep and shelter. Shelter, surprisingly, your top priority when you are wild camping. Make sure you got somewhere dry and warm to sleep. Lots of different types of shelters available. You've seen me hammock camping and tarp camping. There's bivvying and there's tents. Tents come in all shapes and sizes and are probably the most common way to wild camp. So have a look at getting yourself a tent. Now you've got somewhere dry and safe to sleep, you need something to sleep on. A sleep mat. Now, it doesn't matter how good your sleeping bag is. If you don't have a barrier between you and the ground, you are going to be cold. You're going to be very, very cold. As long as you've got some protection between you and the ground before you get in the sleeping bag. Now you've got something to sleep on, you need something to sleep in, such as a sleeping bag or a camping quilt. So you can get synthetic down sleeping bags, you can get down sleeping bags, you can get 4-season, 2-season. It all depends on when and where you plan on going camping. So make sure you don't just go out and buy the cheapest one available. If you're going winter camping, you'll freeze your nips off.
After decades of immersing his body into freezing temperatures,
So that is sleeping shelter. After a very long, cold, wet, miserable day, you're going to be probably a bit hungry and thirsty. So food and drink. So in terms of food, yes, you can just take a packed lunch, some sandwiches, any cold food if you want. But one of the best things about wild camping at the end of a really long day is just crawling to your sleeping bag and having a nice hot belly full of food. So to heat your food up, you're going to need a stove and cooking container, along with whatever kind of fuel you need. So lots of different types of stoves. You can get solid fuel, liquid fuel, and gas stoves. You will also need some way of igniting it as well. So a lighter, a ferro rod, whatever it is. Lots of stoves do have an igniter in it, but the igniter doesn't always work. So just take a spare. So that's cooking. If you are cooking something, you're going to need something to eat with. So please bring a utensil of some description. All of my rations go into a dry bag like this, just so it's all in the same place and I can get to it easily. Everyone's got their own preferences when it comes to rations, and if you guys want, I can go through what I would normally take in another episode. But here's a quick sort of example of what I might take on a wild camping trip. Obviously, food's important, but it's not anywhere near as important as water. Standard Nalgene bottle. What do you want me to say about it? It's just a bottle. You also have these camelbacks, which stuff down the back of your rucksack, and it just provides you a drinking tube for when you're out and about, so you don't need to stop and take your bag off. When you're being really physically active, you're going to sweat and dehydrate quite quickly. And they say on average you need 3 to 5 litres of water a day when you're exercising that much. Now, the problem with water is it is heavy. It's so heavy. Let's say you need to drink like 3.5, 4 litres of water. That would weigh 4 kilograms. You're going to want to find a way of collecting water when you're out. And fortunately, in a wet country like Britain, plenty of places to get water. Take a water filter. Finally, this is my personal favourite, the most essential item on this entire list. A mug to drink your coffee. All right, now we're on to your day essentials. This is everything that you're going to need during the day when you're being up and active. Obviously, you're going to need the clothes you're wearing. Next episode, we're going to look into clothing. One thing that I would recommend everyone take is a first aid kit, and also know how to use what's in your first aid kit. Hopefully you never need to use it, but when you do need to use it, you'll want it.
Oh, my eyes, medic! Oh, my God, my eyes!
You know you're the only one that screams like a girl?
I want to say this one depends on the weather forecast, but we're in Britain, so I'm going to say you absolutely need it. A raincoat. Water will make you super cold super quickly, so make sure you have some way of keeping dry. I might get booed and hissed for this essential, but I'm going to say it anyway. A battery pack. I include this sort of on the same level as your first aid kit, in that if your phone runs out of battery and you need assistance but you can't call anyone, then you're going to be really stuck. So yeah, battery pack. 2 absolutely key essential items: map and compass. Lots of people use GPS, which is great, but only when there's signal and only if you've got battery. Map and compass doesn't run out. And also, as it's Britain, a rain cover for your map. Once you got all that, you are ready to go and have a good day out. So if that was your day essentials, let's go through the night essentials. If you're staying overnight, you are probably at some point going to be very smelly. Obviously, being smelly isn't the end of the world, but being clean is super important. So a little hygiene pack with simple stuff in it, like a toothbrush, some wet wipes, a small quick drying towel, and lastly, a trowel for pooping. Yeah, me and you go a long way. Sorry.
Look, pull yourself together. It's only a bit of poo.
A head torch. It's 10 million times better than carrying a torch. So some form of lighting. The last thing you need for nighttime: spare clothes. We'll go over all of this in the next episode. Last thing to talk about, the bag itself. Absolutely essential. It might seem like you need a big 60, 70, 80 litre bag even for a lot of wild camping. Just simply not the case. This is a 48 litre bag, and I can do 3-4 nights out of this quite comfortably. And that's with lots of camera equipment as well, and all the other non-essential items that I like to take with me to keep myself a bit more comfortable. My advice when it comes to bags is go into shops, try them on, make sure they're comfortable, because if you're like me and you like solo wild camping, your bag is going to be your best and only friend. So look after it. There is all your essentials for wild camping. Obviously, that's what I think is an essential. Now, if you disagree, please let me know. Whack it in the comments. Is there anything that I've missed out? Is there anything I've included that you haven't? This episode is one of many on the Find Your Wild series, designed to be short and sweet, tips and tricks on how to get into adventuring and wild camping. Go ahead and check out the other videos if you want to. Till the next one, have fun finding your wild.
Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at these beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car, nothing can break